So views are actual database objects, and once you've created them, they persist forever and ever with your database until you go ahead and drop them. So in this example, I'm just going to highlight this portion, rerun it. So now I've created my view, People in London. If I go to Object Explorer, you see here I have this view called People in London, and it's one of several views in my database, but it persists. I can come back a week later and select from it and use it and all that kind of stuff. Now, there's several reasons to make a view. One of the reasons is you can have different security restrictions on them, so certain accounts can't access your base tables, but they can access your views, and so your views are a way of kind of protecting your base tables or specifying the rules of how your data should be accessed. But the reason why I create views, and I think probably most practitioners do, is they allow us to abstract away some details of your queries. So these queries, if you notice, like the ones here in this example I have on the screen, it's pretty simple, no big deal. But some of the queries, I mean, you can get a lot of joins and a lot of subqueries, correlated subqueries, group bys, order bys, all this stuff, and all these details, and oh, it's such a headache, and it's hard to read and hard to contemplate. And so you can wrap all that stuff up and hide it underneath a view. And then the view name, if you have an intuitive view name, you can just select from that view, insert whatever you want to do with that view. It's nice. We don't have to worry about all the details. Well, one of the disadvantages of a view is that it does persist if you don't want it to. There's oftentimes you may want to create temporary tables, and I'll show you a few other ways of doing this. In this video, we're going to explore doing that with a common table expression, which is simply a way of kind of breaking your query up into two queries, if you would. You write a query, you pack it into a temporary variable that you then can query after that. But then once that second query is done, your temporary table is gone. It no longer persists. You can't come back the next day and find it there as an object in your database. So that's a common table expression. Let me just show you how to do that. I'm going to warp. First of all, let's drop this view. So now that's gone. And then instead of saying create view, I'm going to say with, and then you name your common table expression right here, and then as, then you have to put parentheses here. And then with check option has no meaning to these common table expressions. And then once we have that, we immediately have to select. Let me just get rid of all this code down here. So now I've created this temporary table, if you would, and then I immediately have to use it. Select splat from people in London. Run it, and notice here I have all the people in London. Now the people in London, if I refresh this, notice the view's gone. This people in London common table expression, its scope is only good for here. So if I actually come around and reselect, say select splat again from people in London, when I run it like this, it says, hey, invalid object name, people in London. I don't know what that is. I can't select from it. So it's kind of, you might be thinking this is kind of weird because we've made this temporary table and then we can use it and then it's gone. Now in this case, it doesn't really make sense to do what I'm doing, because at least to me it doesn't, because when I say with people in London, I'm just turning around and selecting from that. You think I would just say, hey, you know, if I just want to, let's just get all the people where their city is London. And ideally we have some complex part of our query here, and then once we've abstracted it away into people in London, we could say select splat from people in London where more stuff that would make sense to do with people in London, and then we could do order by, group by, all that stuff. So that's why I said it's kind of like, in fact, I'm going to back this up a little bit so they're right together. It's kind of like breaking your query into two queries and making a temporary expression. Again, I don't use these very often. They're there. You need to know about them. But I have seen other professionals use them, and they like them. And I have respect for the professionals I've seen that use this. So another tool to throw in your toolbox if needed.